Welcome to the first lesson of Singular Academy. The Singular workflow is as follows. The Composer gives you all the tools you need to create custom graphics from scratch, meaning you can design, animate, and connect layered properties directly to control nodes. These control nodes then drive those properties, and whatever we set up here in this panel of Composer is exactly what you'll see reflected in the Studio or Uno control applications. Then using either one of those control apps, you can easily update text, images, and other properties live in real time. Finally, you can bring these graphics into your favorite live streaming software such as OBS, vMix, or any others that support URL inputs. That's because Singular essentially generates web pages, but it all has to start somewhere. In this case, everything kicks off way back in the dashboard. This is where you'll land when you type in Singular.live in your browser, and speaking of which, Google Chrome is what we recommend when it comes to Singular to get the best performance and stability. You can go ahead and browse through our website to get information on things you're interested in, but I do recommend you check out the customer stories, where you'll be able to see who's using Singular, how they are utilizing it, and exactly what it is capable of. But for us to be able to create these custom graphics, we need to first create an account. So either sign up or log in if you already have one. This is the Singular dashboard where all of our files live, such as folders, compositions, and control apps, and even uploaded files. Let's start from the top right corner. We have our account settings. Then you can check out the usage statistics. Here you can see the number of users connected to this account, the number of outputs you're using, storage, and you can check out more details about the storage use in the storage tab here. And keep in mind that you might have different amounts of storage, users, and outputs available to you depending on your subscription. So if we switch over to the subscription manager here, you can switch between the different plans. So free gives you a watermark on your output, 1 user, 100 megabytes of storage, and of course you can cycle through the other ones to see what is available to you. Then let's move over to the output manager. Now, it might be a bit confusing to mention this right away because this doesn't come into play until we actually create a control app, but I'll try to explain it in simple terms. So every control app in Singular has an output URL. So you take that output URL and you bring it inside of OBS with a browser source, let's say, and that's how you see your graphic. Although each control app has its own unique output URL, so if you switch control apps, you'll need to make sure to update the URL in your production software as well. To avoid this process, you can create a custom output in the output manager and then link any control app to it. So the URL stays the same in your production software, avoiding any extra work by you or your production team. Even hover over it so we can scan it with our phones to get a nice preview. And there's a bunch of other options here which I will get into in future lessons. Then we have some helpful resources such as beginner's guides videos, the support and developer portals. The support portal is an amazing resource in case you want to learn about different kinds of features when it comes to Singular. There's also the developer portal, which I found to be so detailed and useful. You can submit a ticket in case you have a request, need some help, or even want to report a bug. There's even a service providers page where you can find different companies that offer their services when it comes to live graphics. So if you're interested in that, you know where to look. And finally, you can take a look at the system status. It is very important that all of these are up and running so that you are able to continue using Singular in your projects. All right, now, how do we actually start creating things? So we can right-click, New Folder, and let's say call this Academy. And let's say right-click, add it to Favorites, which will show up in the Favorites tab. If we wanted to, we can right-click and remove it, which will first move it to the trash, just in case we made a mistake or we want to restore it. Or we can choose to empty the trash altogether. Now let's go back to the root folder. And I want to take a moment to talk about something which I think is very important, and that is staying organized. Because as you grow and keep working on different projects, these files will keep piling up. And if you don't organize things, create folders, maybe folders inside of folders, as you can see here, I can go into projects, maybe open up this broken folder. There's a bunch of different files here. We want to keep things organized because at some point we might lose track of where things are and that might cost us time. So let's actually go ahead and create a new folder, and we'll call it Control Apps, and we'll select all of these and bring them inside. So now it's a lot cleaner. Don't forget, on the left side, you have the folder tree, which will allow you to navigate more quickly. Over on the right, you have the inspector button, which will give you information about the selected file in your dashboard. Now, if I open this folder and say select a composition, you can see it gives us the size information. We can even choose a custom image for both compositions and control apps. So if I click here and let's say browse to maybe use the Singular logo, there you can see it shows up. So this is another way of organizing your files. You can quickly at a glance know, okay, this is related to this project and this other file is related to this other project. You'll see that you also have access to the output URL directly in the dashboard, so you don't necessarily have to open up this control app and copy the output URL from inside the control app. Now I have another folder opened here with different types of files, just so I can show you the filter option. So right now we can see everything, but we can choose to only show compositions. Then we can maybe switch to control apps. So now we can only see control apps within this folder. And there are different types of files. And yes, Singular even supports audio files. So for example, you can have a sound effect play when a graphic comes in. Next to that, we can choose to sort files by name, by last modified if we want to find the last opened composition more quickly, or even by owner in the case of having multiple users connected to this account. All right, now we saw how we can create folders and move them around, but we can also create new compositions. So let's call this Academy. And then from compositions, we can right-click and create new control apps. As of now, Singular has two control apps, that is Studio and Uno, which we'll take a look at in depth in the next lessons. Now we could also use the new button up here to do the same thing and even upload files, or we could simply drag and drop a file from our desktop into the dashboard and that will automatically upload it. Now if we go ahead and inspect an image, this is the information you'll get. So there's the width and height, there's the size as well, which is actually very important. These are web pages that we're generating with Singular. And it's very important to have as small file sizes as possible in order to have those graphics load up as quickly as possible. On that note, I want to mention this very useful website called TinyPNG where you can drag and drop your images and it will compress those images while retaining quality. So you can see this one went down by 40%, which is incredible. And if we download that and then click on upload, you'll see the file size is much smaller, but when we double click to preview these images, you'll see that the quality is retained quite well. So this on the left is the original file, and this is the compressed file with TinyPNG. So tinypng.com, make sure you bookmark it. And that pretty much sums up the dashboard. We didn't cover everything, but we'll be moving in and out of the dashboard in future lessons, so we'll take the time to look at them when it makes sense. With that, I will see you in the next lesson.